Hello. Welcome in. My name is Lauren B. You could call me Miss March, and this is going to be a collective tarot reading, couple of channeled messages to kick off the beginning of November. How are you doing? How are you faring, my friend? The beginning of the month has definitely had a bit of a bite to it, and there are a lot of emotions. We are amping up for a retrograde that we won't even be out of the post shadow for until like the beginning of January. Do you need a hug? Do you need a kiss on your forehead? A hot cup of tea? Are you doing all right, friends? Is the first thing that I want to say to you. If you haven't already checked out your full monthly reading for November, they are available for you over in the Patreon, in the House of Bees, along with the rest of our tarot tips. We just started a new series for the Prayer Closet, where I'm uploading a few days a week different activated prayers, power statements, psalms, stuff that regardless of denomination you can use in your practice, because this year is the year of getting into your practice. Forget your bag, get into your practice. You're not going to get a bag until you get into that. And that does tie into probably, I want to say it's our tough love message for the day, but that's going to come a little bit later. We have a couple messages from Venus this afternoon, which I'm really excited to give you. We also have a message from the moon. I found in the last few days, the last few days, the last week and a half, I've noticed a lot of the goddess feminine energies. They seem to be a little bit more subtle than they have been over the past few months, but they're still getting their messages through. So with us being underneath the beginning of a Mercury retrograde, now is a really good time for you to make your offerings to Mercury. In astrology and in spiritual practice, there is this principle of remediation, of when you know that there are certain deficiencies within your birth chart, certain planets maybe aren't set up to work with you, if you know that there is a retrograde coming, you have the ability, whether it's in your everyday life, how you honor and uplift and kind of work through certain planetary energies, or from a spiritual perspective, how you placate, how you please the gods, how you please these energies before they start giving everyone a hard time. That is remediation. It's like going to the other parent and saying, but I cleaned my room. So they give you a little bit less of a hard time. So if you haven't, now is a good time to make your, to make your offerings to Mercury or to Hermes if you like the Greco-Roman pantheon. I also heard to make your offerings to Pluto as well. There's a lot of this kind of scorpionic underbelly type of energy. So it wouldn't necessarily hurt you to also be incurring some favor from some of your darker, denser, chthonic gods, energies, spirits like Pluto, if not specifically Pluto or Hades. I do find in my experience that Pluto and Hades seem to be really receptive to offerings on Saturdays, as they are ruled by Saturn, which gives us contracts, obligations. In that, also there are a lot of what they're telling me is you are going to be seeing a lot of messages from other readers who are talking about forming new spiritual contracts. It would behoove you to not form any long-standing spiritual contracts until the retrograde is over. They're showing me tectonic plates, kind of like Pangea, but they're showing me almost like in Stranger Things how there is the town and then there's the upside down. Between the natural and the spiritual worlds, there's a lot of shifting, seemingly. They're also talking about authority, responsibility, and they're showing me almost like a dress rehearsal. If you've ever done dance or theater or anything like that, a lot of times you'll be on the stage and the director will come forward and they'll start moving people into different positions where it works better with the lighting. And so over the next few weeks, I guess till the end of this retrograde, I suppose it's going to be maybe like a month or two, I feel as though the spotlight is going to be kind of shifting on the collective. So those of you that have been in the dark, you might get a burst of spotlight just to see like how you do underneath it. For those of of you that are used to being in the spotlight, you might get put in the dark for a minute just to see how you handle it. And spiritually, energetically, there's just a lot of moving around of different responsibilities. What if we put this hat on this person? What if we bring the feminine energies forward? What if we bring the Martian energies like over here, right? I'm just mean Martian like Mars and not like Martian, unless you're into that, and that's your business, and we can read that too. So that's really interesting. So again, I cannot speak for all readers, but what's coming through my channel is you may see messages about forming new spiritual contracts. It would behoove you not to actually do that until the dust has settled post retrograde. There is also something here between now and the end of the retrograde about a lot of dust kicking up and a lot of dancing. I wonder if you're going to see a lot of messages about the devil and a lot of messages about dancing. And it's even that like Dance Monkey Dance song. And all of it has to do with you kind of being forced to perform or to prove or to do weird things that make you feel as though you are somehow appeasing a person around you, a spirit, an energy, a feeling as though you have to fight back. So again, as I said in the very beginning, like now is really a time and a season to be in your practice and to be refining the tools that are in your toolkit. Your most prominent forms of spiritual warfare are going to be through cleansing, purging, and prayer. You will find, as opposed to doing elaborate abundance rituals, that being consistent in your offerings and communion with your ancestors, with the gods, with your inner self, with your spirit, whatever works for you, that is actually going to be the thing to incur you more favor. It's a very much of a smarter, not harder energy. Wait until the dust settles before you make any big contracts, if you can, right? In the material world and in the spiritual world as well. Also, what they're saying is the what's coming out here? Oh, interesting. I have two decks, and sometimes we use them and sometimes we don't. I have the Light Seers Tarot. You're also going to be getting a lot of messages about like the light is returning, embodying more light, shining more of your light. A lot of you actually have to, you only access your light when you first move through the shadow. So some of you might have to move through a little shadow and gather some power from your darker realms in order to like power up your light, because there is not enough coming in. There's not enough positive change in your material world to logically inspire more positivity. And so you have to draw from your shadow, your anger, your resentment, your bitterness, and then alchemize it into positivity, into light. For some of you, it's a two-step process. You naturally burn a little bit gritty, a little bit darker. So there's an extra step in you entering into the light. I did a collective message, I think 2 weeks ago, about returning to your elements and learning how to master them again. What they're saying is the water signs have been doing pretty good with your water magic. You're still a little bit dehydrated though. So the water signs need to be still drinking more water, and you need to be activating your water when you drink it, meaning speaking prayers, positive affirmations, wishes, stuff like that into your water. The air signs, apparently from what I'm hearing, you are not staying on top of your elemental magic. So that means your music cleansing, your charms, your smoke cleansing, your verbal magic, especially during this Mercury retrograde. You may find that you go to say something and then all of a sudden you're tripping over your words. It's because Mercury is trying to help you refine what you say and how you say it, because your speech is more powerful than others. And again, using and utilizing the tools of air to help you manifest, to help you cleanse, to help you protect, to help you invoke, all of it. Fire signs are fine. The fire signs in general, you need to work on your bedside manner with other people. You're having issues connecting with people socially because you're being too competitive, because you're low on resources. This is a time for you to collaborate. This is a time for you to get creative. And this is also a time specifically for the Leos is coming through, but again, the fire signs in general, where you need to be showing up as cheerleaders for other people. There's a little bit of a why them and not me type of energy. And the question here is, are you showing up for others in the way you want them to show up for you? So you might have to be more complimentary. You might have to be more present. You might have to be checking in with people more. You might have to be leaving more comments and more likes. You might have to do the damn thing. You have to participate. That is what's coming through. I literally just heard, leave the earth signs alone. So the earth signs might need a little time right now to lick their wounds, to rest chest up. Virgo, there's something about your stomach. Your stomach hurts. You're holding stress in your stomach. You need breathing techniques, maybe some of the tapping, something holistic that will help you release some of the stress or tension that you were holding in your gut. It's going to give you an ulcer. Please do something about that. Again, they're literally like you're one YouTube tutorial away, like you're one breathing exercise. Like, please add it in. So you guys just need some privacy. You might actually be pulling like the Hermit card, all of the earth signs a lot, as almost, and even pulling symbolisms like bears, animals that naturally hibernate. There's almost a feeling, and again, you might be one of those signs that you need to go through the shadow first, because earth is like a darker energy, as it encapsulates everything else. You may have to go deep within like kind of the plutonic underworld. There's also something with the earth signs that part of the reason you're going underground is some of you may be dealing with a little bit more warfare right now, or some interference. There's something here about what do they call them, like whack-a-moles, or like groundhogs, or bunnies, animals that tend to hide, and there's something about learning when to make yourself present and kind of big, and learning when to make yourself kind of scarce and quiet. There's also something with the earth signs that you may find. And again, do not create any long-term spiritual contracts until the retrograde is over. But you may find temporary solace and support from the underworld, from Chthonic gods, even from like the demonic pantheons. It's not going to be for all of you. Don't take it if it's not yours. But, you know, within my own practice, I have my own thing. But as a reader for you, I'm non-denominational. So for some of you, that's where you're going to find your solace. And there's a feeling here of like, you know that, and you're kind of avoiding it. That's fine. That's your business. But you may find a lot of protection in the darker realms, or with some more of these like Chthonic energies or Chthonic spirits. Is there anything else that wants to come through here? Sweets, actually. They're showing me sweets. They're showing me things like cream pies and almost like powdered sugar. There's almost a feeling here of like, actually more sweets, more treats, please. It feels as though a lot of the collective is feeling very blue, very disappointed, for obvious reasons. And so there's a sense of like, treat yourself. Don't go crazy, but like, a bubble bath, a cookie. It's like, don't be afraid to like comfort yourself right now. You may even find yourself like waking up in the middle of the night like craving sweets. Sometimes when that happens, it's because like energetically, like you're trying to pull in sweeter energies. So pay attention to that. You might just need like a couple more creature comforts to kind of like get you through right now. They're also saying like, it's okay to lick your wounds, but just like remember to get back on the horse like when it's time. And what I'm hearing is, we trust you to make the right choice and get back on the horse when it's time, which means that in a lot of ways, and the remaining messages that we have are about kind of taking some of the training wheels off, not being like babied so much, or even almost like patronizing. There's a kind of a general sentiment here that a lot of the spiritual guidance that has kind of come through over the last months and years, and I'm sure it's come through this channel as well, is a little bit of like helping the collective learn helplessness in a way, and so some of the downloads that have come through in the last few days for you guys are about moving past that. The first two messages that had come through for you are deriving directly from Venus. The first of which is about joy. For a lot of you, the reason why the thing you're doing or pursuing, not all, but part of the reason is because you are not infusing enough joy. Your blessing, your inspiration, your dream, your goal, it has now become your burden. And there is not enough joy, which is life force energy. It's excitement, it's creativity. It magnetizes people to you. It magnetizes positivity, abundance, resources to you. There's not enough joy. And there's almost a feeling of, we know you're sad, but also we need more joy in this creative project. We need you to have more joy in your work. We need you to have more joy in being a parent and being a friend and being this. Where is your spirit of joy? No wonder we're not seeing more progress when what we're bringing, even if it's valid, right? What we're bringing is so blasé, it's so depressive, right? And so in general, a lot of you might have to work on building your joy muscles. It's a muscle. When stuff isn't going right, when you're tired, when you're struggling, you're grasping at straws, like your joy muscle gets a little atrophied, right? And so we want to be looking for joy. Excuse you. Hold please for production. We want to be looking for joy, and we also want to be infusing more joy into your work. You underestimate how contagious your joy is. You underestimate how powerful and magnetic you are when you actually act like you give a shit. So that's part of it. Furthermore, the second message that's coming through from Venus is about presentation. As I sit here all like casualed up, it's about presentation. There's something about like brush your hair, wash your ass, show up to work like you're actually here. Like there's a sense of professionalism and there's a sense of presentation that a lot of you are missing. Almost like you're more or less between the lack of joy and like the lack of formality. It's almost like you're kind of phoning it in and wondering why you're not seeing like greater results. And so I think with this Mercury retrograde, Venus wants to come in and help you upgrade. A lot of you guys need to upgrade your Venus. Venus is love, it's beauty, it's money, it's all the shit you want. It's all the shit you come to these readings for, right? I know a lot of you come for spiritual growth and community building, but most of you came here for the first time because you're like, I want a better love life, I want to heal, I want more money, I want more opportunity, I want to be beautiful, I want all the stuff that Venus does, right? And so in order to upgrade your Venus, we need to activate our Mars. Venus and Mars are two sides of the coin. Mars is a planet of action. So Mercury retrograde is going to help slow you down just enough to show you where you are not taking the necessary action, like brushing your hair, showing up with a can-do attitude, like being presentable, being professional, having a sense of passion when it comes to whatever it is that like your vocation is, whether you run your own business, whether you want to move up at the job or company that you have, whether you want to hop and get a different job, right? Whether this are in your personal relationships, whether it doesn't matter what area it is, you all have an area of ire. And I want you to consider if those areas, if you're showing up joyfully, if you're showing up ready to participate, if you are showing up presentable, if you are really showing up, or if you're phoning it in. If you are, you don't got to beat yourself up and down the block about it, but let's take this Mercury retrograde and let's get our shit together, right? Let's have a little humble moment of awareness, and then let's rectify that. The second message, and I'll jump forward. One of the messages that had come through was denied expansion and a return to basics. There's a saying within a spiritual community that it feels as though I'm being requested to slightly correct, and it is delayed does not mean denied. And the sentiment is actually, it might be helpful for the collective to know that actually sometimes we will deny you stuff. Not just delay it, we will deny it indefinitely if you do not do your homework. You are not, there's a sense of here, the sentiment is, it doesn't matter how smart you are or how powerful you are spiritually, doesn't matter what bloodline you cut, like none of that shit matters. If you are not doing the work, if you're not showing up the way you need to be showing up, if you're not processing energies the way you're meant to be processing energies, like if you're not doing it, we are under no obligation to like release the beast, to release the blessing, like if you are not acting in accordance with it. And so that's one message of like, delayed does not mean denied. Like sometimes things will be delayed until you get your act together, until you're sitting in the right place emotionally, until you got your head on straight, right? But there's also a message of please do not be confused. We will outright just deny you access to something. We will not open that door. You do not it's almost like a sense of entitlement. It's like you are not automatically entitled to expansion. And so I think part of this retrograde, and I'm wondering if at some weird part of it is also like the election stuff too. And I don't want to get into it because my stomach already hurts. My stomach already hurts too, Virgo. But I wonder if that's part of like this overall, like the rug being pulled, that energy. It's like, actually, as a collective, we're going to deny your expansion right now. What we're going to do is send you back to basics. And again, that goes back to joy and the message about presentation. We cannot allow you to expand when you are already not keeping up with the basics. If you are already inconsistent with the bare minimum, how can we responsibly allow you to take more on, to expand? You already don't know how to manage your money. We're just going to give you more money to not there's an interesting thing here. And again, it's a little bit of a tough love message, and there's a sense of a disciplinarian energy that comes through, right? But we do have Saturn going direct this month. We do have this Mercury retrograde pulling us back. We do have Venus saying, hey, button up your shirt and brush your hair. And we do have a message from the moon coming in just a moment, right? But as I said, I think a few months ago, the energies that like I'm channeling and that are guiding me through my life are very different. And so like the messages that come through here are going to be a little bit different as well. But the point of them is to actually provide you with productive intuitive guidance, productive tarot readings that you can actually watch and go, I can apply that advice in a real way and see real change in my life, and not, again, constantly have you under this feigned helplessness waiting for spirit. Again, that's part of the law of action. Over the summer in the House of Bees, I actually did a whole series where we went through the universal laws, the laws of attraction, the law of polarity, the law of detachment, and we paired them with different tarot cards, so that way when they appear in our readings, we can see them instructionally a little bit different. It was a really fun like little series that we did before the Tarot Book Club. So if you are not on the Patreon, there was a lot of goodies that we did over the summer that you may be benefiting from now. But again, for a lot of you, you may feel as though there's been a pause button hit on you, and you're right. But I want to remind you that this pause has been hit on you for like 8 weeks. It's not forever. There's a general reminder of like, we will just outright deny you guys the expansion that you want until you learn, if you ever learn, how to do your homework. Be consistent, do the thing you said you were going to do, show up consistently, like you can do the thing, right? But in general, most of you are not fully denied. You are delayed though, until again, we kind of get these ducks in order. But that's what the Mercury retrograde is here for, and that's part of the reason there's this guidance of, hey, why don't you throw Mercury an offering? Why don't you say a prayer to Hermes? Like, why don't you get closer, more intimate with these energies, so that way they can steward and mentor you a little bit more productively through it. So that way you can upgrade your Venus, you can reactivate your Mars, you can see what you weren't doing, what you need to do, how that little shift can really make the difference in a big way, and how that little shift also makes you feel more mature, more engaged, more active in your own betterment, as opposed to constantly feeling like you're moving against the tides. In that, you're going to need one more helper, and it does not necessarily come from a person like me, or it doesn't even necessarily come from the gods or the ancestors necessarily. It's coming from your familiars, and this is thank you. This is coming from the moon specifically. And with the moon, I want to remind you, today is November 12th. November, for those of you that observe this holiday, November 16th is Hecate's day. It is her formal day of worship. The 16th, which is a Saturday, November 16th, it is a Saturday. It is also a really good day to leave blessings and offerings for the Great Mother, for the Hecate. If you observe her in your practice, there's something about this year. You do not want to forget Hecate this year. You do not want to forget her this year. And I say that as someone that 2 years ago, I learned about Hecate's Day after it was passed. Said I was going to do it the next year, and something happened. I just forgot. Like, shit happens. And I was reminded a few days ago, Hecate's Day is coming, Lauren. prepare for it, and while you're at it, make sure they know about it too. And I said, yes, ma'am. I said, yes, ma'am. And so there's that. And then the message from the moon, it's about it's interesting. They keep saying finding and reconnecting with your familiars, with your animal allies, both in and out of spirit. For some of you, you have a specific animal. So for me, it's bees. Everybody knows what fucking time it is. I'm the bee girl, and so bees are my animal ally. I'm the only person in my family who's not allergic to bees. Everyone that meets me, starts watching my readings, starts working with me, bees just start appearing everywhere. It's just a thing, right? For you, maybe it's a goat, maybe it's a bear, maybe it's a bunny, right? Maybe it's a falcon, maybe it's whatever. Maybe they're sacred animals to your deities, to your spirits. Maybe they're literally familial animal allies, as if your family crest has an eagle on it. Maybe they have organically appeared to you throughout the course of your spiritual journey. But there's a sense here of reconnecting and establishing allyship with your familiars, with your animal allies in the flesh, in nature. So for those of you, if you have a cat, if you have a bird, if there's a bunny that comes to your yard and that's your animal ally, right? If that feels like it's your familiar for some reason, spend some more time with it. Do something with them. Like, just invest more in that relationship. Invest more in them. If you want to incur blessings onto yourself, become a steward of nature and a steward of animals. For others of you, this is a more energetic meditative space where you need to spend more time in meditation with your animals to receive their medicine, but also to receive their guidance, because there's a way that they hunt. There's a way that they hibernate. There's a way that they fight. There's a way they tend to their young. There's a way they choose their mates. There's the way that they gather mates. Like, all of these things, they mean something to you too. They might be something in how you need to hunt, and how you need to attract resources or abundance, how you care for your young, the environments, the ecosystems, the climates that you will thrive in. So I also feel like now might also be a good time to start watching animal documentaries, just really get into the natural world. Start just really invest in that area of your education, and whether it's you entering meditative spaces and learning from your animal allies, even calling them in. There's almost a feeling if you're going to make any contract, if you're going to reconnect to any energy or spirit, make it the animals, make it the animal kingdom. Because that will also help you reconnect to your kind of base nature. And that brings us to our very last message, which in truth, I don't fully understand. I'm still kind of feeling it out, but I feel like I'm not supposed to come forward with that fully developed message. I feel like I'm kind of supposed to give you some of the pieces with it and allow you to see if you can make the cake yourself. This came to me while I was laying in bed, which was interesting. And I heard the dolphin follows the wolf. The dolphin follows the wolf. I'll say it one more time. The dolphin follows the wolf. I don't really know what the fuck that means, to be totally honest with you. I think about dolphins, and they really represent a lot of sensory talents, right? Like telepathy, high intuition. They have a lot of natural dharma, positive energy. There's sort of a sense of kismet with them. They represent a lot of friendship as well, community. And then I think about wolves, and they represent independence. They also represent loyalty. Wolves also connect a lot with our instincts, whereas dolphins connect a lot with our intuition. And they're two sides of a coin, right? It's an interesting thing. So it's the dolphin follows the wolf, but it's almost the intuition should follow the instinct, or the loyalty should follow the instinct, or it's but the sentiment is the wolf goes first. I think that's the biggest thing. The hunter within, the instinct, the heightened senses, the survivalist in a lot of ways needs to go forward. And maybe that's connecting to that helplessness, that learned helplessness message. That has to go forward, and then it can be followed, again, moving through the shadow, then it can be followed. And not for nothing, but the wolf is archetypally through mythology always connected to the moon and transformation and all of that, right? But the wolf is also connected to a lot of Venusian energies as well. And the wolf is also connected, if I'm not mistaken, to Scorpionic energy. So there's a lot of water that is associated with wolves as a magical archetype, and so the dolphin follows the wolf. So there's a lot of interesting things to play with there, but essentially the wolf must go first, and then all of the beautiful virtues of the dolphin can like follow in a way. And that very much feels like a message from the mothers about self-prioritization. About self-prioritization. And in order to do that, that might be a factor of expanding your business, making you more money, getting you to a more stable place, whatever. And in order to do that, you need to show up a little bit differently. You need to show up with your head on straight. You need to show up with your hair bright. You need to, right? So now we're coming back full circle. And I think when you're looking around and going, I feel pause, I'm not where I want to be, you go, oh, denied expansion until back to basics. I understand. And then the energy starts shifting and the ducks start kind of lining up themselves is what I want to say. So this is what I have for you. We have a little bit of a longer reading today, but I hope that it was helpful. Again, your full monthly readings for November are available on the Patreon. I don't have them up for like individual like rent or purchase right now. But if you guys want that, let me know. I also have reopened digital readings. So if we are not in the same time zone or you are stuck at work and you can't sit down like one-on-one on Zoom with me, you can pre-order a reading and it'll come right to your inbox like we used to do a long time ago. But those books are open, and again, I encourage you to go and check out the Patreon. We do the prayer closet, we do daily horoscopes and tarot tips and tarot spreads. Like, there's a lot of really fun stuff in there for you if you're interested in it. Otherwise, I love you very much. I really hope these messages were positive. I hope they were supportive for you. I really hope they provided you with productive guidance that you can use during these troubling times. Again, if you need a little hug or a little kiss, just ping me, and and that will just psychically send you a little bit of love. I do love you so much. Thank you for being here and spending this time with me. Know that I'm invested in you and your progress and your success and your happiness as well. And I'm here if you need me. You know where to find me, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.